Nature is not a place to visit, it's our home. Nature is all that we see. Animals, insects, disappearing into their surroundings, using deceptions, disguises, lures. Nature is all that we hear. The call of an eagle, the hiss of ocean spray, the rumble of thunder, the doings of a cricket. The wonderful beauty of nature, the crucial, fragile affinity between animal life and their environment. All of this is World of the Wild. Connecting every environment on Earth, few animals other than birds have evolved to inhabit the endless skies of our planet. And it is flight that stands alone as one of the most inspired and inspiring adaptations possessed by any living creature. While not bound to the Earth, birds of flight are nonetheless connected to it, and their behaviors and adaptations for life on the wing are shaped in no small measure by the environments they favor on the ground. In this episode, we take to the skies to follow the life cycle of pelicans, hunt from the heavens with wedge-tailed eagles, stalk the night with barn owls, learn why vultures deserve more appreciation, and witness the aerial artistry of hummingbirds. More closely associated with the water than the sky, pelicans are among the heaviest of the flying birds, making their aerial feats all the more remarkable. With 8 species spread around the world, pelicans range from tropical to temperate climates and are found on every continent except Antarctica. On the wing, these solid, long-billed birds are capable of traveling hundreds of kilometers a day, but prefer to congregate around inland and coastal waters. With a network of air sacs beneath their skin and throughout their bones, the heavy pelican is made lighter in the air, and its body is protected from impact as it dives into the water to catch fish. These air sacs also grant the birds incredible buoyancy, enabling them to float high in the water as they paddle with their strong legs and webbed feet. Working cooperatively, pelicans encircle schools of fish, beating their wings atop the water to drive them to the shallows. Here, the pelicans utilize their expanding throat pouch to scoop their prey up, along with liters of water. Contrary to popular belief, pelicans do not store food in their pouch, instead tipping it back to drain while immediately swallowing the fish. Growing up to 1/2 meter, pelicans have the longest bill of any bird, aiding in the efficiency of their specialized feeding technique. For all their adaptations to the water, pelicans remain expertly designed for the air. Weighing up to 15 kilograms, rows of additional flight feathers help overcome their bulk by generating additional thrust and lift. Huge wingspans, reaching 3 meters in some species, make pelicans particularly adept at gliding. Exploiting thermal updrafts and prevailing winds, they regularly soar to heights of 3,000 meters, where they adopt an aerodynamic position, covering vast distances with maximum efficiency. Although able to commute hundreds of kilometers, pelican nesting sites are selected within close proximity to an abundant food source. Forming monogamous pairs for the season, males will gather nest-building materials and, depending on the species, simple nests are constructed in trees or on the ground. Incubation of the eggs is shared by the parents, and around a month later, the hatchlings emerge. Care for the young is also shared by the parents, who feed their offspring by taking the hatchling's head into their pouch and vigorously regurgitating their catch. Adversely affected by diminishing fish stocks, pelicans are particularly susceptible to entanglement in floating debris, often with fatal consequences. Nonetheless, they remain a versatile, wide-ranging bird, and the population of most species is stable around the world. Of all the birds of prey, the largest and most powerful are eagles. With 60 species around the world, in the southern hemisphere, it is the wedge-tailed eagle that rules the skies. Occupying a range of habitat throughout Papua New Guinea, Indonesia and Australia, the mighty wedge-tailed eagle presides over its territory from above, favoring lightly timbered regions in which prey can be more easily spotted. Highly aerial eagle hawks, as they are also known, regularly take cruising altitudes of over 1,800 meters. Soaring for hours without wing beat, they effortlessly overshadow the life below. By eagle standards, at around 5 kilograms, wedge-tails are lightly built, but their elongated proportions place them among the largest eagles in the world. Over 1 meter long and with a commanding wingspan of 2.8 meters, wedge-tails are perfectly designed airborne hunters. Sharp talons immobilize prey with a grip strength thought to be 10 times that of the human hand. A strong hooked beak is used in ripping flesh away from bone. And outsized eyes provide what is believed to be among the sharpest vision in the animal kingdom. The eagle hawk's choice of prey is based largely on convenience, and they have a wide diet featuring mammals, reptiles, even other birds of carrion. In Australia, the introduced rabbit is frequently on the wedge-tail's menu. Occasionally, prey can be alerted to the eagle's presence and take evasive action, trying its luck against the eagle's incredible maneuverability. Perching high in trees or other exposed lookout sites, the eagle rests from its hunt while keeping a constant vigil for the next opportunity. Adult wedge-tails pair for life, establishing a nest site that they will return to year after year and defend vigorously from intruders. Beyond the breeding area is a home range where they hunt for food. Extending to 100 square kilometers, the home range is not defended as actively as their nesting site, but ownership is displayed in the air through high-altitude gliding flights. While once the subject of bounties due to the belief that they targeted livestock, wedge-tailed eagles have in some ways benefited from human activity. Introduced species have provided greater feeding opportunities, and in some cases, deforestation has expanded their hunting areas. Nonetheless, habitat disturbance can greatly affect eagle breeding cycles, and care must be taken to ensure this awe-inspiring predator remains present in our skies. Designed for stealth, the barn owl's adaptations have proved successful in so many habitats that it is one of the most widespread bird species on the planet. Hunting under the cover of darkness, few predators, winged or otherwise, are as well equipped as the barn owl. Chief among its assets is a highly attuned sense of hearing, with even the faintest noise directed to their ears via their flat radar dish face. Known as ghost owls for their eerily slow, silent flight, tiny serrations on their feathers along with soft plumage serve to break the flow of air over their wings and body, reducing disturbance as they move through the sky. Thus the barn owl can listen as they fly, adjusting their path according to the movements of their prey, which remains unaware of the owl's soundless presence. Utilizing branches or other elevated positions to scan their surroundings, barn owls favor ground-based prey, with rodents a particular favorite. Rustling through ground cover or even moving beneath snowfall, little escapes this bird's auditory senses. Employing its long, broad wings for precise maneuverability, the owl descends upon its target, opening its slender, elongated talons to cover a wide surface area and seize hold of its quarry. Despite their adaptations to hunt by night, owls are rightly characterized as wise creatures and can modify behavior to suit their environment. As one of the most widely distributed of all bird species, barn owls are found on every continent except Antarctica, and in certain habitats have become more active during daylight hours in line with the habits of their prey. In darkness or in light, disproportionately large eyes grant exceptional vision. Frontally placed, the eyes are fixed in position, and barn owls have adapted to swivel their heads in order to take in their surroundings. Covering a range of around 270 degrees, they are able to see behind them without moving their torso, minimizing any sound that may hint at their presence. Favoring open country, these birds have benefited from agricultural expansion. Proportionally consuming more rodents than just about any other animal, nest sites are often encouraged within farmland as a means of natural pest control. While toxins such as rat poison are harmful to barn owl populations, the future of this surprisingly versatile bird appears assured around the world. Characterized as distasteful creatures, vultures have evolved to use the skies in order to perform a vital and thankless role in the ecosystems of the ground. A surprisingly diverse and widely distributed animal, there are 23 species of vulture spread across all the continents except Australia and Antarctica. Scanning the horizon from their perches, or soaring to incredible heights to cover vast territories, these scavengers of the sky employ incredible senses of sight and smell to detect dead animals from kilometers away. Rarely attacking healthy animals, vultures have adapted to feed almost exclusively on carrion. Unusually social members of the raptor family, vultures frequently roost and feed in large flocks. Their social nature is an asset when keeping watch for other, potentially dangerous scavengers on the ground. However, ground-based scavengers often provide unwitting assistance to vultures. With relatively weak legs and blunt talons, vultures patiently stand by as their so-called competitors break open the tougher carcasses. And with exceptionally corrosive stomach acid, vultures can afford to be patient. Safely digesting putrid meat lethal to other animals, these unappreciated birds will wait to consume the leftovers, preventing the spread of disease from rotting corpses. Known as the undertakers of the bird world, vultures have evolved to use the skies to keep watch for sick or vulnerable animals. While feathers are vital to flight, and thus locating food, they can be a hindrance to a scavenger's diet. But with distinctive bald heads, vultures are able to feed without parasites and bacteria burrowing into their feathers and causing infection. Many species of vulture deliberately urinate down their legs in order to kill similar bacteria on their feet. Recent research has indicated that vultures' bare-skinned heads also plays a part in thermoregulation, with the birds opening their wings and stretching their necks to remove excess heat in hot climates, and hunching their bodies and tucking their heads to conserve heat in the cold. This ability to control body temperature is a significant factor in the wide distribution of vultures around the world. Despite their extremely resilient digestive systems, more than half of all vulture species are threatened by poisoning, with veterinary drugs used in livestock frequently transferred to vultures through feeding. Greater care is required to preserve these valuable birds and allow them to continue their unique role in maintaining the health of the ecosystems they inhabit. Taking the adaptation of flight to levels of artistry is the most acrobatic of bird species, the hummingbird. Among the smallest of birds, there are over 300 known species of hummingbird found across a range of habitats within the Americas. Flapping their wings at the incredible rate of around 50 beats per second, hummingbirds are so named for the audible hum their flight produces. Such a rapid blur of wing beats allows this artist of the air to achieve some truly remarkable feats. Able to fly in any direction, including backwards and upside down, there is nothing in the sky quite like the hummingbird. Hovering with an efficiency unmatched by the natural or man-made world, hummingbirds feed primarily on plant nectar. Assisting in pollination, this feeding behavior is mutually beneficial, and many hummingbirds have co-evolved with plant over millennia. The plants producing specifically shaped and colored flowers, and the birds' specialized beaks to access them. Speed is another asset of hummingbirds, and during courtship displays to attract females, males will dive from the sky, achieving the highest acceleration of any vertebrate in the world. Surprisingly, hummingbirds can also cover vast distances, traveling to areas of higher food abundance during the winter months. Relative to body size, certain hummingbird species are considered to make the longest migration of any living bird. But the aerial mastery of the hummingbird comes at a cost. With the exception of insects, hummingbirds in flight have the highest metabolism of any animal. They must consume more than their body weight in nectar each day. Feeding is not without risk, and hummingbirds are vulnerable to predators as they visit hundreds of flowers to maintain their energy levels. But with the largest proportional brains in the bird kingdom, hummingbirds keep track of every flower they visit, calculating when the nectar supply will be replenished. Despite laying the smallest of all bird eggs, relative to body size, hummingbird eggs can be considered large. Frequently using spider silk to bind their nests, these constructions are able to expand as the chicks grow in size. With single females doing all the parenting and feeding duties, the period between hatching and leaving the nest is the most vulnerable in a hummingbird's life. Climate change is a significant factor in hummingbirds being listed as a vulnerable species. Increasingly sighted in locations well outside their normal range, researchers are concerned that the hummingbird's ability to forage is being adversely affected. The popularity of this remarkable bird may be its saving grace, with backyard enthusiasts providing artificial feeders, allowing some birds to refuel during hard times. The sky is all that lies above the Earth's surface, and no creature is better adapted to this ethereal other world than the last surviving dinosaurs, birds. In this episode, we have seen just a few of the nearly 10,000 birds of flight: ungainly pelicans, ruthless wedge-tailed eagles, stealthy barn owls, grim vultures, and high-speed hummingbirds. As bioindicators, birds reveal much about the state of our planet, and with increasing air pollution and habitat degradation, many species are in decline around the world, with over 1,000 projected to face extinction in the next century. restricting harmful emissions into our atmosphere and preserving wilderness areas on the ground will not only benefit the birds, but the overall health of the planet. Nature is not a place to visit, it's our home. Nature is all that we see. Animals, insects, disappearing into their surroundings, using deceptions, disguises, lures. Nature is all that we hear. The call of an eagle, the hiss of ocean spray, the rumble of thunder, the doings of a cricket. The wonderful beauty of nature, the crucial, fragile affinity between animal life and their environment. All of this is World of the Wild. The island of Madagascar. Stretching for nearly 600,000 square kilometers, this huge landmass spans tropical jungles, dry forests, mountainous highlands, and arid deserts. A landscape so large and diverse, it has been called the eighth continent. Splitting from the Indian Peninsula approximately 88 million years ago, life on Madagascar has evolved in relative isolation. Today, 80% of the island's plants and 90% of its animals are found nowhere else on Earth. In this episode, we explore the wildlife of this biodiversity hotspot to discover how lemurs have found success through diversification. Go between land and water with mudskippers, learn the specialized adaptations of eyes, witness the chameleon's unique hunting technique, and study how mongooses have evolved to meet the particular challenges of the island. Unarguably, the most famous animal inhabitants of Madagascar are its playful and intriguing lemurs, and there is good reason for their success on the island. With the dry conditions of the east and the moist environment of the west, Madagascar encompasses a range of climates and geographic zones. Diversifying over millions of years, lemurs today boast around 100 species, each specializing to fill the niche island's varied habitats. All lemurs are proficient climbers, with some species displaying particularly acrobatic inclinations. The Shafak lemur, for example, is so specially adapted to a life of vertically clinging and leaping amid the trees that they must adopt an odd sideways hopping motion during their rare visits to the ground. Perhaps the most recognizable of Madagascar's lemurs are the ringtails. Unusual among the species, ringtails spend more time on the ground than in the trees. This adaptation to a terrestrial lifestyle means that they avoid competition over the canopy's limited resources, finding ample fruit and foliage on the ground below. Whether on the ground or in the trees, the majority of lemur species live in groups up to 30 members strong. However, the social hierarchy of lemurs has a significant difference from that of other primates around the world, with lemur groups led by females. Debate continues as to the reason behind female dominance, but with reproduction having a high cost, on an island with limited resources, it is beneficial for those bearing that cost to be in charge. During Madagascar's dry season, food and water regularly become scarce commodities. Having evolved a low metabolic rate, lemurs are able to cope with the uncertainties of the island's resources. The characteristic sun-basking behavior of many species helps reduce heat loss and conserve energy, allowing these creatures to subsist on a lean diet. With an excellent sense of smell, scent communication is an important component of lemur society, marking territories and advertising virility during the breeding season. Their long snouts distinguish lemurs from most primates. But contrary to popular belief, this does not aid in their acute sense of smell. Instead, the lemur's extended snout increases chewing power, allowing access to a broad and flexible diet across the island. Since the arrival of humans on Madagascar, at least 17 lemur species have become extinct. Today, with increases in hunting and habitat loss, the island's growing human population threatens 90% of the remaining species. A vital animal within Madagascar's many ecosystems, increased conservation efforts are required to protect this flagship species. On the mudflats of Madagascar, there is a true fish out of water, the mud skipper. With almost 5,000 kilometers of coastline, Madagascar is home to extensive and teeming mangrove forests. Here, with the rising and falling of the tides, life has evolved to flourish in a world of constant change. Adopting an amphibious lifestyle, mudskippers are the ultimate mangrove survivors. The only fish to spend as much time out of the water as in it, their enlarged pectoral fins are adapted to swimming and walking, even to climbing. Over 30 species of mudskipper are found in mangroves from West Africa to New Guinea. Able to breathe through their skin, this is only possible in moist conditions, and the humid mudflaps of Madagascar's west coast are an ideal environment for this unique creature. Using their enlarged gill chambers to carry water in the same way scuba divers carry oxygen, their ability to venture across the land provides feeding opportunities beyond the reach of other fish. A thriving ecosystem, Madagascar's intertidal zone provides an abundant food source for carnivorous mudskippers. Perfectly adapted to the interface between land and water, they actively hunt for insects, sandworms, and crustaceans. But the land comes with a new set of dangers, and mudskippers are vulnerable to predation from water snakes and wetland birds. With large, high-set eyes, these walking fish are afforded a 360-degree view, remaining vigilant to land-based threats. This distinctive adaptation also assists in hunting, and mudskippers often swim with their heads above water as they scan for prey. A territorial species, mudskippers become particularly assertive around breeding time. with disputes a common occurrence. Gaping mouth poses and fanning fins are used as threat displays in order to establish and defend territorial boundaries. The breeding season also sees mudskippers excavate watery burrows. Reaching over a metre deep, and often with several entrances, they are dug painstakingly, one mouthful at a time. Eggs are laid deep in the burrow, out of reach of terrestrial predators. The doting parent aerating the water for their young by carrying in mouthfuls of air. Able to tolerate many toxic substances in their environment, perhaps the greatest challenge to mudskippers and the mangrove forests they inhabit is sea level rise. Specialized for life in an intertidal zone, mudskippers are being driven into new territory by rising water levels, and the question of just how far these changes will push them remains unanswered. The world's largest nocturnal primate, the ii, uses the cover of darkness to feed in a manner that is unique on this most unique of islands. As the sun sets over the Madagascan rainforest, ii emerge from their daytime slumber. Perhaps the most specialized lemurs on the island, the ii has evolved an exceptional tool set to skillfully forage the trees by night. Found predominantly in the rainforests along the east coast of Madagascar, iis have developed a technique known as percussive foraging, allowing them access to a largely untapped food source. Moving dexterously about the trees, the ii uses its elongated middle finger to knock repeatedly against the wood. With enlarged, highly sensitive ears, these specialized lemurs listen for the presence of wood-boring insects and grubs beneath the surface. With their prey detected, rodent-like teeth are employed to chew a hole through the wood. Deftly reaching a long, thin finger into the narrow opening, their previously hidden food is promptly brought to the surface for consumption. Not only does this singular technique provide the ii with a protein source inaccessible to other lemurs, it also aids in the health of the rainforest, protecting the trees from mass infestations of wood-eating insects. Despite their grub hunting specialty, these primates are not restricted to percussive foraging. Freely availing themselves to the variety of food on offer in the rainforest canopy, their bony fingers are just as useful in scraping the flesh from coconuts and the other fruits that supplement their diet. Thought to have been extinct for over 20 years, since being rediscovered in the 1950s, iis have remained on the endangered list. Traditionally believed to be harbingers of evil, casting death with the point of a finger, such superstitions persist today. And with deforestation forcing more of these primates into cultivated areas, conflict with humans is on the rise. The key to saving this species from a second extinction lies in protecting their rainforest habitats. Home to approximately two-thirds of the world's chameleon species, Madagascar is a haven for these distinctively adapted lizards. Part of the iguana suborder, there is a debate as to whether chameleons migrated to Madagascar from Africa or whether the species evolved on the island itself. What is certain is that this reptile has thrived here like nowhere else, and from dense jungle rainforest to dry deciduous woodlands, Madagascar provides chameleons a range of preferred habitat. With Madagascar providing an abundance of insect species, chameleons have evolved a specialized adaptation in order to hunt them. Firing their suction-cupped tongues, they ensnare their unfortunate victims with incredible accuracy. With a reach up to twice their body length, these lizards are capable of striking prey from considerable distance in just a fraction of a second. So effective is this hunting method that larger chameleons are able to take down other lizards and even young birds. Making full use of Madagascar's forests, like so many vertebrates on the island, chameleons are highly adapted to a tree-climbing lifestyle. The particular tongue-like structure of their toes provides excellent grip on a range of surfaces, from rough tree trunks to narrow branches. Fused eyelids give the chameleon's eyes their unusual appearance, and these reptiles have some of the most attuned vision of all lizards. Moving each eye independently of the other, chameleons hunt for prey while simultaneously keeping watch for the many predators of the Madagascan wilderness. With a full 360-degree view, they are also able to enlarge their point of focus, similar to a camera lens. Among the few animals able to change the color of their skin, contrary to popular belief, chameleons rarely use this adaptation for camouflage. Instead, color displays are used to communicate emotions, whether performing threat displays or advertising their virility. These highly visual lizards are able to clearly signify their intentions to other chameleons. Growing continually throughout their lives, chameleons shed their skin in sections to accommodate their growth. In the teeming ecosystem of Madagascar, this has the added benefit of removing any parasites that may have settled on their skin. Due to deforestation, many species of chameleon are currently threatened with extinction around the world. In the case of Madagascar, this is of great concern, with agriculture and settlement clearing much of the island's original habitat. Yet the island continues to surprise. With the recent discovery of a new chameleon species, the smallest in the world, hope remains that Madagascar can continue to be a haven for this fascinating species. Of Madagascar's native carnivores, the mongoose family remains a relative newcomer, but has evolved to occupy the full range of the island's varied habitats. Known as the Eupleridae family, the 10 living members on Madagascar are thought to have evolved from a single ancestor, arriving on the isolated island around 20 million years ago. Since that time, the species has evolved and split into the distinctive subfamilies that exist today. Mostly social animals, the 6 mongoose species of the Eupleridae family have spread to inhabit Madagascar's range of ecosystems, from the humid rainforests in the east to the arid spiny forests of the south, and the dry deciduous woodland of the west. Largely ground-dwelling creatures, mongooses are excellent diggers and excavate complex tunnel systems which serve to avoid predators and, importantly, to regulate temperature. Often occupying exposed terrain, the fur-covered mongoose avoids the worst of the Madagascan heat by retreating to the cool of its subterranean shelter. Digging is also used in sourcing much of the mongoose's varied diet, targeting the island's insects and rodents, as well as earthworms and lizards. The mongoose's long, sleek body with its tapered snout allows it to work its way into seemingly inaccessible spaces to capture prey. A relative of the mongoose and fellow member of the Eupleridae family, the fossa is the largest mammalian carnivore on Madagascar. This cat-like hunter has evolved to target another of the island's endemic inhabitants, lemurs. Hunting by day or night, the fossa nimbly scales trees with its semi-retractable claws and highly flexible ankles. Above the ground, a long tail aids in agility, and muscular limbs grant it power to leap among the branches in pursuit of its quarry. The dominant predator of all lemur species on the island, the primates make up 50% of the fossa's diet. However, displaying a dietary flexibility on par with their aerial acrobatics, these widespread carnivores play a significant ecological role, controlling the population densities of its many prey species. The most widespread of Madagascar's carnivores, fossas are generally found in low numbers. Sensitive to man-made disturbance, with the continued loss of the island's pristine habitats, this rare species is classed as vulnerable. Cut off from the rest of the world for tens of millions of years, the life that has evolved on this vast, environmentally diverse island is unlike anything else on the planet. In this episode, we have seen lively lemurs, slippery mudskippers, night-stalking aye-ayes, colourful chameleons, and crafty mongooses. But man's influence on this unique island ecosystem is threatening its future, with over 90% of Madagascar's original forest having been lost. The pressures of a growing population and damaging agriculture practices continue to jeopardize the island's biodiversity. Conservation efforts in the form of nature reserves and sustainable farming practices are providing an alternative, and there is hope that Madagascar's rare habitat can be restored, along with the irreplaceable wildlife it supports.